एज आई टोल्ड यू 4875 अटैक करने से पहले 5140 हम जीत के आए थे। तो 5140 को 4875 अटैक के बीच में ज्यादा टाइम नहीं था। वी हैड टू स्टार्ट प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर द नेक्स्ट अटैक। एज आई टोल्ड यू नो, द लग्जरी ऑफ टाइम वाज नॉट देयर विद अस। So the immediately 4875 attack we started planning and executing. So that had taken a toll on his body. He was not really keeping well. When this 4875 attack carried out for almost 3 nights, 3 nights and 3 days, because it was very tightly held feature. So that is the time Captain Vikram Batra had volunteered to carry out that attack. As a matter of fact, I will narrate you the 4875 feature and entirely, and then his role will also come. तो 4875 पे जो अटैक था, 5140 हम खत्म करके आए, तो देन वी वर माइटी थ्रिल्ड, हैप्पी, नो दैट इंटरव्यू विद कैप्टन Barkadath, and then Vikram Batra's photograph being published in the newspaper with a huge catch of arms and ammunition which we had seized from the Pakis. So all that, that euphoria was there. But I was wondering कि मतलब I had left GRE TOEFL, I could have gone to MS, but I had chosen to join the defense forces. I was so near, yet so far. Imagine 71 was the last war what the Indian Army had fought. I was not even born then. And here I am there. I joined the Indian Army with the intention to do something, of course. And I'm in the midst of battle, but I'm not given an opportunity. I'm seeing people, विक्की सर को करते हुए देख रहा हूँ, मतलब we already lost Jasrotia sir, we already lost sizable number of people by then, and then I'm wondering कि मतलब मुझे मौका कब मिलेगा। तो 4875 अटैक का 4th जुलाई डेट डिसाइड हुआ, उससे पहले रिकॉनेसेंस हो गया, हम सारे नीचे आके वी हैड प्लान डिस्कशन, एवरीथिंग हैपेंड, एंड अगेन आई वाज मतलब फर्स्ट अटैक एज इट इज, विक्की सर एंड जिम्मी सर हैड लेड, आई वाज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ इट, आई वाज इन द रिजर्व। तो सेकंड अटैक में भी मुझे मौका नहीं मिल रहा था। So then Major Gurpreet Singh was my company commander. He was the one who would to lead attack, one attack, and the second attack was to be led by Bhaskar sir. So I was not actually part of that, and then I couldn't resist myself, So I went to my commanding officer, sir, मुझे क्यों नहीं भेज रहे हो? मतलब what am I lacking? Why are you not? Why am I not selected? So he had one word to say. He said, Naveen, you have put in 6 months of service. Now just आपने जनवरी में join किया है. We are talking about June, July now. You have got 6 months of service. I was what age then? I was 23, 24 years age then. And he said, कि मतलब at this age, you're going to lead 120 men into the battlefield. Your one order, your one command can be a matter of life and death for a Jawan. And in case these 120 people don't have trust, don't have faith in you, how are you going to lead them into the battlefield? बट ही वाज वेरी टफ नट टू क्रैक, मतलब वो आसानी से मानने वाले नहीं थे, एक बार बता दिया तो बता दिया। बट आई वाज आल्सो डीड द मैं भी, मैं नहीं छोड़ा, उनके पीछे पड़ गया। देयर लॉट ऑफ कजोलिंग, कॉक्सिंग व्हिच हैपेंड, एंड फाइनली ही एग्रीड, एंड आई केम आउट माइटी हैप्पी, माइटी थ्रिल्ड, केम आउट। बट दैट वाज द बैक ऑफ द माय माइंड कि मतलब ये मुझे मौका नहीं मिल रहा था, बट सीओ ने एक बात बताया था कि मतलब if your men don't have faith in you, if the men don't have trust in you, how are you going to take 20 men to the battlefield? So next day I call 120 people of them. There are formalities, every officer has his own style, has his own way of functioning, has his own way of speaking to the Jawans, motivating them. There are, it is individual, personality oriented. Major Gurpreet Singh addresses them, he has his own way of communicating. I have my own way of communicating. He addresses them. Then I address 120 people. There's something called the formalities. What you try to understand is, लड़ाई के बारे में बहुत सुना होगा कि मतलब मूवी में लोग देखते हैं कि मतलब किसी को चोट लग गया, किसी को जीत लिया, किसी कोई शहीद हो गया, कोई जीत गया, कोई हार गया. You generally get to know this. But what you really don't understand is what goes through a mind of a soldier before he gets into the battlefield. What's his mentality? What's his thought process? What is he thinking? It's generally an untouched topic. I would like to touch upon that since I've seen it is a very close range. I've seen everything happening in front of me. I was an active participant. It's from the horse's mouth. 120 people standing in front of me, I'll have to tell them कि मतलब there's something called unposted letters. Now what's an unposted letter? 120 people standing in front of me, I'll have to tell them, आप एक लेटर लिखो, you write a letter to your near and dear ones, whomsoever you want to address. If you don't come back from the battlefield, that letter whomsoever you address to, that will be delivered to that person. If you don't come back from the war, it will be delivered. If you come back from the war, that letter will be returned to you. Looks pretty simple, you know. But imagine, I with 6 months of service at the age of 23, 24, standing in front of 120 men which you are going to lead into the battlefield and telling them, write a letter in case you don't come from the battlefield. What does that effectively mean? It means you may die in the battlefield. No matter how strong you are, how you think you're mentally very strong, you don't get into depression, you don't think too much, overthinking you don't do. But no matter how strong you are, 120 people standing in front of you, leading them into the battlefield with 6 months of service at the age of 23, 24, you will not be able to communicate that. Looking into their eyes and telling them you may not come back from the battlefield, it is next to impossible. But as an officer, as a team leader, you'll have to put in a very brave face. You'll have to put in the best of yourself in front of your men, the men you command. So I had to do that. I did that. There are a lot of people who wrote letter and deposited. I also wrote a letter and deposited. Just imagine, pause for a second. Let's pause here for a second and imagine what could be the content of that letter. That Jawan, it's for that soldier. It's like a last message, last thing he is going to convey to his family. Imagine that thought process going on into him at thousands of feet away, thousands of miles away. If he has to breathe his last, what is he going to what is he going to convey? He'll not be able to get a second chance. He'll not get a second chance to convey what his feelings to the family. That is the type of content he wants to write in that letter. So it's a very difficult task, but as an officer, I did it. The next thing what we do is we deposit all our belongings. Your rank, your name tab, your identity card, your purse, your wallet, everything gets deposited. There is a strong reason for that. You wear everything, rank, name tab, you go there, you attack, you are captured, by chance you are taken prisoner of war. The enemy knows who you are, what's your name, what's your rank, what's your IC number, who you are, everything is known. So everything is deposited, everybody becomes a normal soldier there. Again, it may look simple, but I have seen soldiers opening up their wallets, and opening up their wallets, probably the photographs of the near and ones everybody keeps. In the army, people miss their families, so they keep photographs in their wallets. So looking intensely at that, tears rolling down their eyes, probably thinking that thousands of miles away, if they have to breathe their last, forget about speaking to the near and dear ones, forget about seeing their faces, they'll not even be able to see the photographs because everything gets deposited there. Imagine the kind of thought process, tears rolling down their eyes, seeing that intensely. Probably पेरेंट्स का फोटोग्राफ होगा, बच्चों का फोटोग्राफ होगा, बीवी का फोटोग्राफ होगा, everything gets deposited. And then at the last, everything, these formalities are done, and our there is a पंडित जी in the unit. पंडित जी हवन करता है, सबके ऊपर तिलक लगाता है. And then the unit war cry, 13th battalion unit war cry was Durge Mata ki jai. And once, I called Durga Mata ki Jai, 120 people standing in front of me, everybody calling it Durga Mata ki Jai. What a fantastic electrifying atmosphere it was. Probably, उस टाइम तक लग रहा था मुझे मैं इनको मोटिवेट कर पा रहा हूँ, नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, whether इनको लीड कर पाऊंगा, whether I have built in that trust or not. And finally, when the Durga Mata ki Jai, what a powerful, war cry it was. The moment Durga Mata ki Jai, I called 120 people standing in unison calling Durga Mata ki Jai. That is the time I realized. Till then, probably we had that fear of uncertainty कि कितने लोग जा रहे हैं, कितने लोग वापस आएंगे, कितने दिन लगेगा, कितनों को चोट लगेगा, how many have to be evacuated, how many have to be retrieved from there. All that fear of uncertainty turned into only one thing, and that thing was, come what may, whatever be the sacrifice, whatever be the circumstances, the tricolor has to be hoisted on 4875. That was the only thing on our mind. So that's how we led the attack. Before starting the attack, I would like to touch upon one aspect. जब भी कोई अफसर फौज ज्वाइन करता है ना, उसको एक बड़ी मिलता है, बड़ी पेयर. मैंने आई ज्वाइन, माय बडी वाज श्याम सिंह. आई यूज्ड टू कॉल हिम शामे शामे करके बुलाता था मैं इनको. तो शामी was for January I joined, he joins along with me, and जून जुलाई तक he was there where whatever action we carry out. बड़ी सिस्टम, पेयर सिस्टम इसलिए हम करते हैं कि जब भी आप अटैक लॉन्च करोगे, काउंटर इंसर्जेंसी में हो, मिलिटेंट हाइडआउट बर्स्ट कर रहे हो, कोई भी एक्शन हम करते हैं रात को करते हैं। तो अगर रात के अंधेरे में जब हम कर रहे हैं, मतलब somebody gets shot, people will not realize, मतलब whole team is going, once somebody gets shot, people may not realize कि somebody has got shot. That's why we always operate in pairs. तो मुझे चोट लगता है, मेरा बडी को पता है, जो मेरे साथ में रहेगा, साथ में एंटर करेगा, साथ में एग्जिट करेगा, उसको पता है कि मुझे चोट लगा है। अगर उसको चोट लगता है, मुझे पता है। सो वी ऑलवेज ऑपरेट इन पेयर्स, अ टीम विद बट इन पेयर्स। तो मुझे ऐसा श्याम सिंह के साथ काफी सारा मौका मिला था कि मतलब जो भी हम एक्शन करते थे, साथ में करते थे। When this attack was there on 4th July, we had to launch. Sham Singh was not keeping well. From the past 3 days, again, he was with fever. वहाँ पे ऊंच नीच हो जाता है because of the terrain, because of the atmosphere, because of the exposure. So people might fall sick. Sham Singh was also not keeping well. So I had sent a message across to him that Sham Singh will not participate in the war. The moment he came to know about this, I had conveyed it to my senior JCO. Senior JCO conveyed it to him that he will not join the war. The moment he came to know about this, trust me, he came running to me. And quote unquote, he says, सब अच्छे दिन में आपके साथ था, अभी बुरा वक्त आया हुआ है, मैं आपको अकेला कैसे छोड़ दूं? भगवान ना करे आपको कुछ हो गया तो जिंदगी भर मैं अपने यूनिट में, मैं पलटन में, अपने घर में मुंह कैसे दिखाऊंगा? तो इमेजिन इस थॉट प्रोसेस, ही इज थिंकिंग अगर मुझे कुछ हो गया एंड इफ इट डजंट अकम्पनी मी, हाउ इज ही गोइंग टू फेस द वर्ल्ड आफ्टर दैट? So that was the level of attachment we had as a buddy. There's a lot of attachment. There's a lot of camaraderie because for the past 5.5 months we have been together in thick and thin. Matlab any ambush we are going, any area domination patrolling we are going together. We are entering and exiting together. So he didn't want me to go alone. He came and approached me, and seeing his commitment, I thought कि अगर मुझे जाने के लिए सीओ मना कर देता, मुझे कितना दुख लगता. तो probably this guy will also feel the same thing. I said कि शामी तू भी चल. And the moment I said कि शामी तू भी चल, I used to call him Shami. His name was Sham Singh. I used to call him Shami. The moment I said Shami तू भी चल, I could see him, fisting his pump in the air and running to collect his weapon. तो जाके वेपन कलेक्ट कर लिया. रात का समय था. And then we had to launch an attack. Captain Vikram Batra was actually initially was not part of that attack. So fourth night go we launch an attack, and then when we say an attack on a feature, when I say 4875, it does not mean कि मतलब पहाड़ी के चोटी पर there are few people. It's not that. There are series of bunkers and sangars which have been built. Every feature has to be cleared one by one. एक जहां पर रिज लाइन हम इनको बोलते हैं, एक पहाड़ी का चोटी है तो दिस is a ridge line where you can climb. It's called a ridge line. Wherever there is a possibility of anybody climbing up that mountain, they would have built bunkers and sangars there. It's an obstacle. तो वहां से वो लोग फायरिंग करना आसान रहता है. तो दे वांट टू चेक आवर फ्लो. तो दे वुड हैव बिल्ट सीरीज ऑफ संगट्स एंड बंकर्स देयर. तो 4875 में हमने 4 जुलाई को अटैक लॉन्च किया. तो 5th अर्ली मॉर्निंग तक पूरा चढ़ाई था, हम चढ़ते रहे. 5th अर्ली मॉर्निंग तक व्हाट आई रियलाइज इज द फर्स्ट 3 बंकर्स आई कुड नोटिस. द फर्स्ट 3 बंकर्स को मुझे नोटिस करने के बाद मुझे ऐसा लगा कि अगर 120 people in nation start entering there, the surprise element will be lost. The enemy will come to know we have launched that attack. Probably they were sleeping early in the morning. It was not even daylight. They were sleeping. I wanted to encash that surprise element. I didn't want the enemy to get up and start firing at us. If they start firing, we'll not get a foothold. So what I decide is I select a team of 10 people. The idea was there are 3 people to attack on the left bunker, 3 people to attack on the right bunker, and I with 4 of my men will attack the center bunker. And the idea was you start crawling towards the bunker. The team will crawl towards the bunker. One team towards the left bunker, one team towards the right bunker. I with 4 of my men will crawl towards the center bunker. And once I see that both the teams, the left team and the right team, have reached their respective places, I have reached my place, I'll give a signal. And moment the signal is given, all 3 teams together in unison will draw the hand grenades, lob that hand grenade, and immediately draw weapons and will pump in bullets into the bunkers. So that was a plan decided. We start crawling. The left team reaches, the right team reaches, and I also reach the position. I see that both the teams have reached. I give a signal. And Aditya, believe me, जैसे हम बैठे हुए ना, हम दोनों बात कर रहे हैं, पूरा बाहर पूरा सन्नाटा है. Imagine on a hillock, early morning, मतलब late night, pin drop silence. Nobody knows what's happening. 3 teams have reached, ready to fire the grenades. पिन ड्रॉप साइलेंस से एक साथ हमने ग्रेनेड निकाला, एक साथ हमने ग्रेनेड फेंका. And the moment the grenade blast, you can imagine the whole hill was lit. जैसे मतलब एक साथ हेल ब्रोक लूज बोलते हैं ना, इट वाज हेल ब्रोक लूज. फायरिंग हमने ग्रेनेड डाला, वेपन्स ड्रॉ किया, फायरिंग करना शुरू कर दिया. एनिमी को पता चल गया, द एनिमी न्यू दैट अटैक हैज कम, दे स्टार्टेड फायरिंग. To counter that, my men sitting down low, they also started firing so that up above, so that they also can check the flow, they also respond to that, so that the enemy is subdued. So in that bargain, what happened was we managed to capture the first three bunkers because the enemy was not aware in the initial stage. The enemy was taken by surprise. Before they could react, we could neutralize them. And once we neutralize them, we have to sanitize the bunkers. Sanitize the bunkers, matlab we'll have to take out the enemy bodies which are lying there. We'll have to take it out. We have to look for any mines if they are hidden. The mines have to be diffused. And obviously the blood has spilled there. You can't go and sit there or stand there and start taking the positions. So ice को उठा के उसके ऊपर डालना पड़ेगा, so that that blood which is spilled there, that gets diluted. So all, and the weapons which are sighted down, मतलब the enemy बैठा हुआ है वो नीचे की तरफ weapon किया हुआ है. Now what we have to do is we have to carry out the attack forward. So the weapons have to be realigned. So the realignment weapons has to be done in coordination, कि हम आपस में अपना फायर न खोल दे. So that setting of weapons has been done clearly or not, properly or not. I was trying to visualize that. I was trying to see that. It was early morning. The just sun had just started to rise. I was trying to locate the right bunker and the left bunker to see the weapons have been aligned properly. The early morning sunrise had just come. I was trying, when I was trying to see the bunkers, I could notice that one of my men has fallen with his face down. मुंह ऐसे करके गिरा हुआ है, leg twisted in an awkward position, hand twisted in an awkward position. The moment I saw that, I realized, matlab, this person may not be alive. I couldn't make out who he was because face was lying facing downwards. So hand over that post, come running towards that person. दिमाग में ये है कि मतलब वो बचा नहीं है, but मतलब दिल से ये लग रहा है कि let him be alive, I'll send him below, get him treated, and then at least we tried to save him. Early morning sunrays facing on his head, I go and twist that body. When I see that young rays falling on his face, what I see is something was no more. Aditya, it was losing Sham Singh was such a jolt for me. Shame ko, matlab, when I saw that he had sacrificed his life, felt so bad. Matlab, I don't know. I can't even express how I control my tears. Now imagine as a team leader, if I start crying, if I start shedding tears, entire set of 100 of my team members are looking at me, and if I start crying, what will be impact on those 100 people? So I didn't want I didn't want these people to lose the will to fight the battle. So I had to literally bite my the thick coat which I was wearing. I was biting that to avoid the tears rolling down my eyes. And I felt so bad subsequently when I got injured. I came to know he had written a chit in his pocket. It's in. He had written, "ये जिंदगी भी क्या जिंदगी, दुश्मन को मारे बिना, ये जिंदगी भी क्या जिंदगी, मौत के बिना." This is the camaraderie. He had an opportunity. He had that. If he wanted, he could have stayed back. He didn't have to participate in the battle, but still he chose to come to the battlefield. He chose to be with me, and ultimately he made the ultimate sacrifice. That is camaraderie for you. In the Indian Army, you'll find nowhere else. एंड जैसे आप सब लोग स्लीपिंग बैग के बारे में सुना होगा. यू गो टू ट्रिप्स जाते हो, ट्रेकिंग जब जाते हो, कैरी स्लीपिंग बैग्स. वी आल्सो कैरी स्लीपिंग बैग्स, बट स्लीपिंग बैग्स आर नॉट स्लीपिंग बैग फॉर अस. दीज आर बॉडी बैग्स. श्याम सिंह का बॉडी जब मैं उसको स्लीपिंग बैग में डाल के जिप क्लोज कर रहा था ना, दैट इज द टाइम आई वाज टेलिंग माय सेल्फ, शामे, आई विल मेक दिस बगर्स पे फॉर दिस. आई विल एंश्योर दैट these buggers pay for what they have done to you. I put them in this thing, sleeping bag, and we send his body down. And these aspects are part of the battle. It will keep happening. I knew that, and we carry on the attack. To cut the story short, I told narrated incident of fifth early morning. Fifth entire day we fight. Fifth night the fight is on for us because every inch of the territory is important. From one boulder to another boulder, if we are moving from one boulder to another boulder, if we are running from here to here, people are covering fire into us. We are moving from here to here. That means we have covered that much distance. We are inching closer towards the final objective. One bunker neutralized, we have got a strong foothold. We have another Sangad neutralized. That means we are going ahead. We are going ahead. For every inch we keep, that matters for us. We keep on moving. Fifth day we fought, fifth night we fought, sixth afternoon तक लड़ाई चलता रहा. No, sixth afternoon. That is the time my commanding officer sends a message to me. आप खाने के बारे में पूछ रहे थे ना? Sixth afternoon he sends a message to us. The message was fourth afternoon was our last meal. 48 hours have elapsed. We have not had anything. तो he sends a message कि आपको कुछ खाने के लिए भेजो क्या? तो मुझे पता था अगर खाना आना है तो मतलब it has to come right from the bottom. Fighting for almost 48 hours, we had started to lose our ammunition. So I go back on the radar set and convey back to my commanding officer through my this thing, Major Gurpreet Singh, that खाना सर आप खाने की चिंता छोड़ दीजिए. हम लड़ाई लड़ते लड़ते एमिनेशन कम हो रहा है, एमिनेशन भेजिए. तो यू वुड बी वंडरिंग कि मतलब 48 आवर्स हाउ डिड वी सर्वाइव. कुछ तो मुंह में जाना चाहिए, बॉडी को एनर्जी चाहिए. What we used to do is in the month of July also you'll find snow capped hills there. तो जो बर्फ ऊपर पड़ा रहता था, we have walked over it, somebody has got shot, blood has spilled, shelling has happened, so it's all blackish, it's all messy, the upper part. So what we used to do is we used to scoop out the entire upper layer of the ice, and the lower layer of the ice which is relatively fresh, we used to put that in our mouth just to get a feel कि हाँ भाई हमने भी कुछ खाया, मुंह में कुछ गया है, some energy is there, just this is a mental feeling that something you have eaten, something has gone into your stomach. That is the kind of survival method, survival methodology we had adopted. We put a ice into our mouth, although it's very harmful to eat the raw ice. Putting into your mouth, it can burn your throat. But still, something had to go into our stomach. We need some sort of energy, some sort of mental satisfaction कि पेट भर गया. तो हम वो ice मुंह में डाल देते थे. So when I sent across this message 6th afternoon में, that is the time ammunition dump से message मिला कि मतलब उनको ammunition चाहिए. That is the time Captain Vikram Batra and his team come and join us. And once Captain Vikram Batra joins, matlab, he was already a hero. A new way of enthusiasm had come to the entire team. We carried out that attack with rigor. We carried out that attack. मतलब आगे बढ़ता रहा ऐसे अटैक. हम लोग आगे बढ़ते रहे. Sixth evening की बात बता रहा हूँ. Sixth evening, what we were doing was, he was sitting here. He was giving covering fire. I used to rush ahead, and I used to sit here. From here, I used to give covering fire. He used to move ahead. तो ऐसे करते करते आगे बढ़ रहे थे हम. सिक्स नाइट को क्या हुआ था, यू विल बी वेरी सरप्राइज टू नो दिस. सिक्स आफ्टरनून में मैं ऊपर पोस्ट पे बैठा हूँ, फायर कर रहा था एनिमी के पास, एंड देन फायर करते करते मेरा एमिनेशन मैगजीन खत्म हो गया. तो आई केम डाउन टू फिल माई मैगजीन. ऐसे मैगजीन निकाल के दूसरा मैगजीन भर के मतलब मैं आगे बढ़ने वाला था. तो विकी सर एट कॉल्ड मी. विकी सर बल्कि नवीन तू बैठ जा इधर, थोड़ी देर के लिए बैठ जा. एंड आई सैट विद हिम. एंड इमेजिन द टाइप ऑफ कॉन्वर्सेशन वी हैड देन. लड़ाई चल रहा है, हम लोग क्या बात कर रहे हैं. तो हम ऐसे बैठ के बातें करते रहे, कुछ देर तक बातें करते रहे. एंड देन आई टोल्ड हिम, सर मेरा अगले 6 महीना है, 6 महीने के बाद मैं दूसरे यूनिट में चला जाऊंगा. तो आप किसी यूनिट में चला जाओगे, मतलब आप 13 जाकर मूव कर जाएगा, मैं किसी और यूनिट में चला जाऊंगा, पता नहीं मिल पाएंगे नहीं मिल पाएंगे. तो said, मतलब माई नेम फुल नेम इज नवीन अणबेरू नागप्पा. अणबेरू का ही यूज्ड टू कॉल मी अन्ना अन्ना. अणबेरू का शॉर्ट में अन्ना अन्ना बोलते थे मुझे. तो अन्ना तो ऐसे क्यों बोलता है कि मतलब हम लोग रिटायरमेंट के बाद भी मिलेंगे. मैं ही वाज फ्रॉम पालमपुर. तो पालमपुर में ही हैड, आई डोंट नो वेयर ही गॉट दिस आइडिया फ्रॉम. ही यूज्ड टू टेल कि मतलब मैं स्ट्रॉबेरी फार्म खोलूंगा उधर. तो तू फौज में क्या, तू 13 जैकरिफ को कन्वर्ट हो जा, साथ में रहेंगे. एंड फौज छोड़ने के बाद मैं पालमपुर में सेटल हो जाऊंगा, स्ट्रॉबेरी फार्म खोलूंगा, तू उधर भी आ जाना, तो हम साथ में मिलकर खेती करेंगे. तो ये सब बातें हो रहा है, मतलब वहां पे लड़ाई चल रहा है, शेलिंग हो रहा है, फायर फाइट चल रहा है, वहां हम दोनों बैठ के ये बातें कर रहे हैं. बातें करते करते फिर मैं थोड़ी देर हो गया. देन आई सेड कि सर मैं चलता हूँ, मतलब मैं मैगजीन फिट किया, मैं आगे चला गया. तो देन रात भर लड़ाई ऐसे चलता रहा. सेवेंथ अर्ली मॉर्निंग टू मतलब टू फाइनली टू सम इट अप. सेवेंथ अर्ली मॉर्निंग क्या हुआ, आई वॉज इन द लास्ट बट वन बंकर. There was only one bunker of enemy left. Had we occupied that, point 4875 would have been ours. I was carrying an AK-47 in my hand. To the right is a boulder. On the other side of the boulder is the enemy last post. Whenever I get an opportunity, I'm firing towards the enemy and sitting down, ducking down. 7th early morning, what they do is they lob a hand grenade. Hand grenade आपने देखा है ना, बिन निकाल कैसे फेंकते ना. The hand grenade they lob. I'm sitting here with an AK-47, leg stretch. The hand grenade falls in front of my feet. Let me tell you the design of a hand grenade. How a hand grenade is designed. If you remove the pin, lob the grenade, immediately if it blasts, the person who is lobbing it will get hurt. So the design is you remove the pin. मतलब मूवी में ऐसे दिखाता है, तो पिन ऐसे निकाला जाता है, मूवी में ऐसे दिखाते हैं कि ये दांत से निकाला. Either ways, you remove the pin, lob the grenade, it goes and falls there. It has got a time lag of 4 seconds. It goes and falls there in 3-4 seconds. It blasts so that there is a maximum impact is there. A lot of people get injured, and they say killing radius is about 10 meters. It depends upon the type of grenade, type of constrained space you are sitting in. It depends on that. Anything between 5 to 10 meters is the killing radius. So anything in and around 5 to 10 meters is blown off, is shredded into pieces. Such a hand grenade lands in front of my feet. Now, what options do I have? It's an L-shaped bunker. If I am sitting on one side, two of my men are sitting on the other side. So what options do I have? Grenade in front of my feet, I cannot kick the grenade. If I kick the grenade will roll towards my own men. My conscience will not permit that. How can I kick the grenade towards my own men? The second option is to get up and move away. I'm sitting in a sangat, very narrow opening, and that too at one side. If I get up, the enemy is observing. They have lobbed a grenade. They know there will be some harkat, there will be some movement. They'll be waiting for an opportunity, somebody to get himself exposed so that they can take a pot shot. So that option is also ruled out. What do I do now? I knew it has got a time lag of 4 seconds. It comes and fallen down. Now I have got 3 to 4 seconds to react. What do I do? I can't kick the grenade. I can't get up. So only option left was for me to pick it up and lob it back. I picked it up and tried to throw it back towards the enemy. Now imagine, आप सब ने फेस्टिवल में पटाखे फोड़ा होगा, तो मतलब जैसे ही आप you lit the cracker, how far you run. But here is a live grenade with a killing radius of 5 to 10 meters. I picked it up and tried to lob it back. You will appreciate if you want to throw something away, you need a proper swing of your hand. But since I was sitting in a constrained space and that too at the wrong end, I didn't get that proper swing. Picked it up, tried to lob it back, but unfortunately hit the boulder, rolled back, and fell in front of my feet again. So out of those 4 seconds, probably I've lost 2 to 3 seconds and just about 1 odd second to go. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not dramatizing the whole thing. I've seen death at a very close quarter. I remember how that grenade rolled, what sound it made, how it came to halt. Everything I remember. In those fraction of a second, once it came back and fell, I told myself, Naveen, you're not going to survive. This is your last. And in those fraction of a second, it was like everything started flashing in front of my eyes. My childhood, my parents, my brother, my sisters, my college, my training, everything started flashing in front of my eyes. I knew I'm not going to survive. But in those fraction of a second, I started realizing when I die, it will be devastating for my parents. They'll be heartbroken. But imagine if I sit like this, the grenade takes off, my entire upper part of the body will be blown off. What will they send home Naveen as? Some scattered bone pieces, muscle pieces put in a gunny bag, and if they send home, will my parents ever excuse me? Will my parents not want to see my face for the last time? There was only one prayer on my lips. Let my face be intact, oh God, so that my parents get to see my face for the last time. With this prayer, there is in the big boulder, and between that boulder and the sangat, there is a small opening. I jumped to that between the boulder, and what happened was my upper part of the body when I jumped went behind that boulder. However, my legs got exposed because it was a very small opening, and then the grenade takes off. Before I could realize, there was smell of cordite, there was smell of burnt flesh. The bunker which I was sitting in had collapsed. For the next 15 seconds, I did not know whether I'm dead, whether I'm alive, whether I'm state of hallucination. I was not knowing anything. I couldn't sense anything. For the next 15 seconds, I was not in a state of imbalance. All I could make out of it 15 seconds was the enemy had launched a counterattack. They had started rushing towards me. 15 seconds later, when I was trying to regain, what happens is you're in a senses, if you get hurt, immediately the pain reaches the brain. But when in case of a shock, in case of a blast, you will not sense any pain. You will not know anything. Nothing comes to your mind. You are blank. You are zero. I was in that state. What I see in those 15 seconds later was the enemy trying to launch a counterattack and By then, somebody, what I could visualize, what I could see very faintly was somebody running towards my post, firing towards the enemy. And once I stand there, the dust is just settling down, smell of cordite, there are ringing sound in my ears, dust all over, not able to see clearly. Vaguely, I see somebody standing there. And the first thing which comes to my ear is, Naveen, to darna nahi, main aa gaya hu. And when I see that, when I hear that, when I see Captain Vikram Batra is standing in front of me, he's firing towards the enemy. And once I saw him, that is the time I realized कि I am alive. And I told myself, Naveen, if you अभी तक तो नहीं मरा है, तो आगे भी नहीं मरेगा. My AK-47 was lying on one side. I picked it up and started firing towards the enemy. By then, my men also knew that Naveen साहब को चोट लगी है. They also started firing towards the enemy. And then Captain Vikram Batra standing. That's the time I realized I'm alive. And then he drags me out of the bunker because both my legs injured. I couldn't have got up. I couldn't have walked. So the only way was he drags me out of the bunker and takes me out good about distance there. And then I don't know how many of you, the audience, would have seen this movie called Shersha, which is a biopic on Captain Vikram Batra. This scene has been captured in which I get injured. The grenade is locked into the bunker. I get injured, and Batra sir rescues me. He takes me to a safe distance, and then he tells me to get myself treated because there are a lot of conversation then also happening. He tells me, Naveen, tu jaake treatment le le, niche jaake treatment le le. I lead the attack. And from there on, I start. I'm telling you, in the movie, if you see, you noticed, I'm telling, sir, मुझे नीचे मत भेजो, मुझे लड़ना है, मुझे लड़ना है. If I think it over now, उस time पे मैं, I don't know why I had told that. If I think it now, what utility, what use I was there. I was not able to get up. I was not able to walk. I was okay. I'm sure many of you would have seen this movie called Shersha, which is a biopic on Captain Vikram Batra. In that movie, this scene has been captured where the bunker which I was sitting in, the enemy lobs a grenade into that bunker, and I get injured, and that's the time Captain Vikram Batra comes and rescues me. He drags me out of the bunker as I had injured both my legs. I couldn't have got up, couldn't have walked. So he drags me out of the bunker for good about 15 odd meters, and then he tells me to go down and get myself treated so that he can carry on the attack further. During that time, with both my legs injured, I am trying to tell Vicky sir, मुझे नीचे मत भेजो sir, मुझे लड़ना है. This scene has been captured in that movie. As of now, if I think, what was my thought process then? I really not aware कि मतलब what utilization or what utility I would have been there, having both my legs injured. How would I have fought the enemy? I'm not too sure. But all I knew was I had promised my men that I am going to be with them till the last minute, till either I see the tricolor getting hoisted, or I come in the tricolor. I just wanted to be along with my men. That's why I was trying to refuse Captain Vikram Batra sir, मुझे भी नीचे मत भेजो, मुझे नीचे मत भेजो. But Vicky sir was my senior. He tells me, Naveen, you go yourself, get yourself treated, otherwise you're going to bleed to death here. There's no point in that. So then that is the time, our fists met, and then he gave a tap on my shoulder, and then he started running towards the future and to the bunker in which I was injured to carry on further with the attack. And I start crawling down. And since that stretch was exposed, nobody could come and rescue me easily because it was under direct fire of the enemy. So I had to crawl good about 150 meters. You can imagine, both legs injured, couldn't walk. I crawl 150 meters. I had to drag the weight of my body. And then when I 150 meters I crawl, sit behind, get to a place where there's a big boulder, get behind that boulder. And then when I turn back and see, I could see wherever I have dragged my legs, wherever dragged my body, I could see my legs I have dragged, and that drag marks, that blood stains all over that drag mark. I could easily notice that. I sat behind the boulder and then trying to see what has happened to my leg. It was pretty badly damaged. And then at that point of a time, one of my jawan came running towards me, and then he picks me up like a gunny bag. Although it was not away from the small arms fire from the enemy, he picks me up like a gunny bag, and then he's running from one boulder to another boulder. And during that sprint in which he's carrying me, although he couldn't have run very fast carrying me, but he's running from one boulder, and he's dashing, he's jumping behind another boulder, he's falling down along with me. And within that time I can see that the Pakistan or the enemy is firing towards us. They want maximum casualties. They don't want somebody to get evacuated. So then they are firing. I could see that, he's running at that point of a time. I could see the enemy firing at me and the bullets hitting the eyes and the eyes getting scattered. And he is running from one boulder to another boulder, falling down along with me, and then again getting up, picking me up, and then again dashing to another boulder. During that time, you don't realize what's possible, what's not possible, what can happen, what cannot happen. I was trying to see back, my leg was literally dangling. Had somebody put some force and dragged it, it would have come apart. It was in that bad shape. So once he's carrying me like a gunny bag and rushing and running and falling down, I was under the impression कहीं मेरा पैर कट के नीचे तो नहीं गिर जाएगा. I was trying to look back and see if my पैर नीचे कट के गिर गया. I would wanted to take it back, take it along, and get myself treated. That was the kind of mental state I was in, not realizing what's practical, what's impractical. Imagine getting hurt early in the morning of 7th July. And by the time they bought me, I got hurt on top of the feature. And by the time they bring me down, it was late in the night. Too much of blood loss, too much of infection. And once I reached at the place late in the night, don't even remember what time it was. It was pitch dark when they get me down. Doctors were waiting for me, although they were on job 24 into 7. When I reached there, the doctors saw the state of my leg and too much of blood which had flown, infection which had started spreading in my legs. Because once a grenade blast, the splinters pierce into your bodies, and then they're basically metal pieces, and they are corroded at that altitude, at that temperature. They're corroded. The corrosion has set in already, so they pierce into your body, and then the infection start to spread into your entire body. The doctors see my state, and they are telling me, Naveen, it's a miracle that you have survived. This is very rare that grenade blast so close and people survive. It's a miracle that you have survived. And the earliest possible opportunity, that is 7th night, I've reached down. 8th early morning, we'll put you on a helicopter and send you to Udhampur for further treatment. So they put me on a sedative, and then I go off to sleep, not realizing what's happening in the battlefield. 8th early morning, they wake me up. My nursing assistant is coming me. There's a helicopter waiting for me there, because we didn't have night flying capabilities then in the helicopters. So next day morning, that's 8th early morning, had to be flown to Srinagar oblique Udhampur, wherever the facility was there. So 8th early morning, they wake me up. Nursing assistant helped me in brushing my teeth. They put me on a stretcher, and then I was loaded onto the helicopter. The helicopter pilot was told not to fly very high, because you fly very high, there's chances of the enemy hitting you with a missile, because all the features were not cleared by then. I was put on a helicopter. The helicopter takes off, start moving towards Srinagar and Udhampur. It has flown for a certain distance. My nursing assistant sitting next to me, and then at some altitude, my nursing assistant woke me up and said, quote unquote, he said, सब डॉक्टर ने उठने से मना किया हुआ है. डॉक्टर was told not to get up, but वो देखिए 0.4875 पे तिरंगा लहरा रहा है. Aditya, that was music to my ears when he said कि मतलब 0.4875 पे तिरंगा लहरा रहा है. It was such a solace to me that I tried telling myself, in मन में मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि Naveen, the mission has been accomplished. The task which has been given to you has been accomplished. It's immaterial. It is of no consequence whether you survive, whether you don't survive. You have left a legacy. You have created history. Whenever Kargil war will be spoken about, whenever 4875 will be spoken about, your name will also be there, no matter how small. But you will be remembered. So the 0.4875 has been won, the mission has been accomplished. I couldn't resist myself. In the stretcher itself, I sat down, I saluted the national flag, and I was about to lie down. When I was about to lie down, the nursing assistant again told me, साहब इसके लिए हमने कीमत चुकाई है. Means मतलब we had to pay a very heavy price for this. मैंने कहा उस्ताद, we generally call them उस्ताद हमने क्या कीमत चुकाई है? तो he said, साहब कैप्टन विक्रम बत्रा नहीं रहे.